City, this yours? This your mic right here? Oh, all right, I was about to throw it out. If it was hers, I was going to throw it out. Now the idea. Are we ready? Good morning, everyone. Thank you guys for coming out today. We wanted to give an update of our bomb or our explosion yesterday. We've heard in so many different explanations for it. The tragedy that we had at the Chase Bank building. Today we're going to kind of, as always, I want to give you the facts. I want to tell you what we know. And the one word we're not going to do, we're not going to speculate about anything. We're not going to speculate about what is, what could. We're just going to give you what we have. First of all, let me first say my prayers and my thoughts go out to the young man who we found in the bank yesterday, to his family, to his co-workers. My heart goes out to them. It's a tough part when you have to tell a mother that her son got up yesterday to go to work and he did not come home as a bank and working in a bank. And you always explain to your children, you know, do the best, get a job, and he was doing that. And we wanted to give our sympathy for that. For those victims who were there, his co-workers that are still fighting for their life, trying to recover, we're sending out our prayers to you as well. There are many of them that are they're not out of the clear yet. There are some health issues they're going to have to overcome. That's the physical part. And then we can talk about the mental part as we go along as well. So we've reached out to our local mental health county to talk to them and to reach out to Chase and talk with their staff. They've reached out to us. We're going to try to make sure that we provide them with all the support and services that we can. Because I can't imagine. I can only imagine that what their mind, what's going through their mind right now, what they're feeling. So today, we're just going to continue to wrap our arms around that staff, those and the bank, those residents who live there. You got to think about, where do I live? Where do I stay with the next week, 10 days, or even longer for the Realty Tower, and then the International Tower as well, because a lot of them heard the explosion. There may be some that have PTSD. We've got to consider all areas of aspects for this. The one thing I want to make sure that I don't miss, and I try to say this every time I had an opportunity to have a microphone in front of me, I want to thank this community. I want to thank all the men and women of the safety of services, police, fire, EMT from all over. If you had a visual of the scene yesterday, you didn't just see Youngstown. You saw Boardman. You saw all county sheriffs. You saw them from all over here helping, and not just going away. They were going in to the building, and we look forward to that. I want to thank the federal government. We've got a call from the governor's office. Both senators have reached out to us, as well as we've had federal, state investigators on the scene to make sure that we give them the best shot to find out what happened with this. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to have Chief Finley give you the information as it's unfolded, what he knows already, and then we'll bring Chuck Shashu up. Once we bring those two up, and then we'll take questions from you one at a time. I'll try to make sure we get to everybody's questions at one time, at different times, so we'll take it as we go. So Chief Finley.
Good morning, everyone. As the mayor said, obviously this tragedy was hit our community pretty hard. We did find a young man that did not make it out of the building. We found him last night, probably around 12:30 or so. With respect, we got him out because we were not going to leave until we found him. Right. We were going to be there as long as it took, and we found him. For his, so his family can have closure. The other young lady that was missing, excuse me, we found her. So we didn't find her. She was in Boardman in the ER, but for whatever reason, unknown, she registered under a different name. So that's why we couldn't find her. PD did their due diligence, but we found her. So as far as we know right now, everyone is accounted for, and that's what we wanted. And the fire department, we were not going to leave until we made sure that it happened. Every one of my firefighters did exactly what they were trained to do. They got in there, they got in the building, even though the building was unsafe, unsecure, they got in there, They went room by room, floor by floor, to ensure that everybody was out of that building, and they did it twice. Checked the elevators, checked everything till we made sure and ensured that the building was clear. And then everybody got out, and then we just surrounded the building to ensure that no one else would get hurt. But that's all I really have. That's all I really have.
Chuck?
Good morning. Our first priority right now is keeping the general public safe. For that reason, there are still several roads blocked downtown, as it was last night. And the last night we have obviously Marcus Street and Wake Avenue blocked at the square. We have the entire square blocked off. We have Federal Street blocked from Phelps Street to Champion Street to Walnut Street. Commerce Street, Walnut Street, and Borman Street would be the way around the area right now. In addition to that, we are looking as things progress and we start, communications with the owner and their process as it relates to whatever their process needs to be, and getting a structural engineer that they provide to assess the building. We will look at tightening up the barricades and put more effective barricades around the building. But please keep in mind that we still don't know to this point 100% certainty on the stability of the building itself, as well as the general hazards of being in an area where there's loose debris that are able to fall. So I just tell the general public and stress that to stay out of the area, even though it is barricaded off, we will be providing a little more permanent barricades for the time being.
Well, yeah.
Furthermore, not to speak for Cityscape, but the plan this weekend is the planting day generally for Cityscape. Speaking with Ms. Latson, Executive Director of Cityscape, that is, we are planning on moving forward with that in some fashion. Obviously, there won't be any activity in that restricted area, but the other areas of the city, I think the city needs that right now. I think we do need to do our duty here and get the city beautified. Fifth Avenue, Front Street, Commerce Street, and some areas of Federal Street on the west end will still be going forward as planned. If Cityscape decides to make any changes, I believe they will release that. But I just want to let you know we're still going on.
All right. We'll have a word from Chief Davis as well, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Good morning, everyone. As you all know, we had a gas explosion that occurred in downtown Youngstown on yesterday, prompting a swift mutual aid response from surrounding communities. If any of you in this room had any questions about what mutual aid looks like and how it works, yesterday was a clear example of how it works. We have firefighters, police officers, sheriff's deputies, state and federal authorities responded to assist in setting up a perimeter, evacuating people from nearby buildings, and helped with the rescue efforts. This joint effort ensured the safety of downtown residents and businesses in the vicinity. So I want to thank everyone involved in this collaborative effort that helped bring this situation under control and to minimize any further damage and loss of life. I want to thank them very much. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, we'll take questions. I'll start from my left and I work to my right. Sydney?
Okay, so who is still on scene at this moment? Is there any kind of a suspected cause at this point?
State Fire Marshals are on the scene. We're not talking about any type of cause yet. State Fire Marshal, they're going to give us that. So we're waiting for them to tell us that. We're taking their directive on this.
Okay, assuming that this was.
That was one question. You got two?
I got several.
Well, let's. You know how I am. I want to give everybody a chance. Go ahead. I don't.
Assuming that this was accidental, is there any indication of negligence here? There was a gas company that sent out a letter saying that the internal gas lines are the responsibility of that building. So would you say that there was any kind of negligence going on here?
No, I wouldn't say anything like that. You're not going to today. Let's just be real clear. There's not going to be anything that's going to be said from us to push or point a finger anywhere until we know for sure. Today, I'm giving you the facts. This is all I know. I don't know any of that yet. So, and I get everybody's been wondering. They talk about is the building this way. I've had 10 different people say it's leaning. I looked at the building, kind of looked like it was leaning to me, but it's not. So in your mind, you have these different thoughts and ideas, and it's just natural. So we're not from our side of the world. We're waiting for those who do this every day to tell us. You want one more?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
Okay, the structural integrity, has the engineer been out there? I know, Chuck, you said that the building is going to have their own structural engineer out there. Have you guys been able to talk to him? Has he said anything about whether or not the building will have to come down?
So we had one out there yesterday, right?
We-
Come on.
Yeah, we don't. I don't believe there has been enough assessment by any structural engineers that were able to safely get in the building and take a look at any of the details that they would need to do to make that assessment right now. But I do expect that's forthcoming very soon.
Yeah. Joe?
Yeah, I had heard from several people that there, after the explosion, that there was a delay in the response by Ohio Edison to try to get there. I was just wondering if that's true and if that hampered your efforts at all to find the people who were missing.
Gotcha.
No, no, as I said, my firefighters did an outstanding job. It did not hinder us from, it did not hinder us from doing the search that we needed to do with the building. How Edison came, you're right, they came, and for whatever reason, they seen the lights and the barricades, and they turned around and left. And when our 911 center tried to call them and get them back out, they said, okay, we'll be there in 2 hours. Well, that's not good enough. I called Troy Rhodes, who's I think the regional manager on this, and immediately he got on it, and they were there within 15 minutes. So, but yeah, they did. I don't know if it was their fault or not. I don't know if it was their policy or not. But when they came, they seen the lights. Nobody came to them, so they left, and then they ended up coming right back.
Okay.
Joe, that didn't hinder our evacuation. We were still
Okay,
evacuating.
absolutely
That was because we had water and electrical.
I was more in terms of like, with rubble and maybe some live wires.
That was
if you were digging through stuff.
correct. Yeah. We had not gotten to that point that we were headed that direction. We wanted them to get there as soon as possible. I'll just start here.
I heard reports that there was somebody working in a basement. Is that true, and what were they doing if that is true?
Again, the state fire marshals will have to do that. We're collecting all the video and footage. We hear that there were 10 guys or 5 guys, and one guy yelled, "Get out!" One guy pulled arm. We're not speculating. We're going to let the state fire marshals review that. There are videos all over right now. They have multiple videos. Chase is providing. Some of the local buildings are providing it. So they're collecting that, and they're kind of reviewing to kind of give a time lapse for that. So.
I'm sorry, there were people in the basement working?
That's what I don't know. I can't. I don't want to. I mean, there are people in the building all the time. I don't know what they were doing there while they were there. I'm waiting for the state fire marshal to tell me this. Jerry was in there because he was going to the ATM. Or Mike was in there because he's in the basement. I don't know that, so I'm letting the state fire marshals go through the video and kind of do a recap of people in their place and where they should be. Jerry.
Just to clarify a couple things. The question I wanted to ask Chuck or anyone else was construction work happening outside as part of the East Boardman Street work, either above ground that we would see them or down in the vaults below, adjacent to the basement of the Realty building. We have heard and talked to people who said they were in the basement at the time working, but was there construction work going on in addition or along with that as part of this road construction?
So the city has a firm inspecting the roadway project. They confirmed with me that there was no active construction going on at the time in that block and in front of the building.
And just to clarify something Sid asked, the state fire marshal, state fire marshal is now in charge of the investigation, or is this your folks and them working together, Chief?
Well, obviously, because we have an arson investigator, but the state fire marshal is the lead investigators on this case right here.
Is OSHA at all involved in this?
OSHA is here. OSHA. I just met her this morning, so she is here. But you have to understand something to this magnitude. Everybody is coming out.
Yeah.
ATF was here.
FBI
was here, because at the end of the day, until we really find out what's going on in today's world, we have to expect the worst. And so every agency that should have been here was here to ensure that we still are safe as a community and as a country.
Yeah.
One last real quick. What do you tell the folks who were living, I know some of them were here, who were residents of the Realty Building or may have been residents. It's an open-ended question and a moving target, but is there any hope they're gonna get to go back, retrieve belongings, get their cars, any of those things in the immediate future?
Here's the thing. There's nothing more immediate than life itself. And until I, the fire chief of this city, is ensured by the structural engineers that that building is safe, nobody's going in that building.
Mayor, hey, I just had a quick question, two questions. So there were 7 people that were hurt, and then one of those people, they were on a ventilator in critical condition. Is that true still? Do you know, do we have an update on that?
Yes,
condition?
that lady is in surgical intensive care at Mercy Hospital.
Okay, and was that person, the person that showed up to the emergency room, was that included in the 7 people that were
Yes.
hurt? Okay, okay. And then how many residents I should say, belong to, live in the building?
Honestly, that number, I have no idea.
23.
23 units.
There's 23 units in there.
23.
Yeah, that's the owner probably would better to be able to tell you that.
Okay.
You didn't have to come up here. I saw you back
Oh,
there.
okay, I didn't know, I didn't think you did. Okay, so can you tell us what the conditions are of the injured, all of them? I know there's 3 more still in the hospital.
It's about the same as yesterday, right?
But about the same as yesterday, the most critical one, the lady, she's intubated on a ventilator in surgical intensive. Everybody else, they sustained injuries, but I mean, and I work at the hospital, so I didn't hear anything too over and above, got some injuries, but the lady that's in surgical intensive, she's the worst.
Is she going to make it?
I have no idea.
Chief, can you talk about where you found the victim? Like, was he under rubble? Like, where in the building was his proximity?
He was in the basement. We'll leave it at that. Joe?
Do we have any kind of timetable on when the company that owns the building is gonna have their engineer come and look at it?
Chuck?
I would say sometime today we'll find out what their schedule is. They're still working through their processes. I'm sure there's an insurance company involved in this at this point and so forth. But before we can really get in there, I think the investigators need to finish their investigation when we start moving things around and clearing debris.
I think it's going to also depend on the state fire marshal. We're letting them, before probably move in, but we're letting them lead this investigation as far as time. I'm unfortunate, guys. I know this is, it might be inconvenient, or everyone wants to give us a hard time. I don't have a hard time. The time right thing is the right thing. We want to make sure is that the community is safe and everything's secure, where we don't have any other get hurt. Anybody want to go before I go back over there? Anybody? This over here? Anybody? Jerry?
Chuck, real quick, I heard the city was going to bring in its own structural engineer in addition to whatever the building owner might. Is that accurate, or you're gonna wait for the building owner's person?
That is not accurate. This is a privately owned building. Even from a standpoint of, you would have to contact the Mahoney County building official, but the building official, in fact, they even told us yesterday, they would order that the building owner bring a structural engineer, and they don't provide that type of service.
Any of the other buildings surrounding Realty on either side of, we know that they had to evacuate the hotel, are those buildings safe to occupy?
I'm glad that you brought that up. If it's okay, Chief. Just because I've been getting phone calls. Sorry. I have been getting phone calls from several restaurant owners today in and around the area. To be clear, and Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, the only buildings that are ordered not to be occupied at this point are the Standby Building, Doubletree Hotel Building, and the Realty Building. Those are the only 2 buildings that are. So every other building, there's no restriction on that I'm aware of. So I have been getting many calls. So just so the public knows, other than the closures that I mentioned with the roads, all buildings and businesses are open at their discretion.
So what's happening now with the Standby Building, where the hotel is and the restaurant? Is that being inspected too, or is that?
The reason why you say they can't.
Well, I think the reason that it is not to be occupied, I believe, is just because of the risk of debris within the debris field and the direction of where the damage is. It basically is facing in the northbound direction towards the hotel. So if there were a collapse, it would certainly be in the hazardous debris area.
So you're not concerned about the integrity of the Stanwell building, just it may catch whatever might fall off of Realty?
Yeah. It sustained minor damage with a couple of broken windows from the blast.
As the gas line that blew, is that connected to any other building?
I don't know if we can answer that. Yeah, we don't, that's why we got to get Dominion out there. They would be better to answer that question. We don't know.
And the safety deposit boxes, those are not insured. Do you guys know what those people might do?
You have to talk to Chase about that. Anything dealing with the money in the bank, that's a Chase conversation. And they've brought their team on, so they're dealing with that right now. So,
Is there any concerns about looting or anything like that? Are you throwing any resources from the city to
yeah,
help?
you're a day behind. We were on this yesterday. The chief and his team worked around the clock last night, as well as Chase had some security out there. We are always worried about individuals, and I'll say this: it's probably not going to be those who live in the city. Those who see this as an opportunity, Youngstown, we seem to come together during these times, and but this is a great opportunity for kind of to show ourselves as we put all of our differences aside. What side of town you live on, what high school you went to. These are our people. These are the ones who live in our community, and we're going to continue. I was out there last night to make sure the young man has some closure with his family. So we will continue to do that.
How are people who live in the building being communicated with and updated on it?
Again, the building owner has to take that responsibility. It's the public safety is first. I'm not sure how they've been communicating with them for it. You probably need to find a resident. I don't want to point them out. They're in the room, how they've been communicated to. So that would be the best answer to that as well.
Chuck, you answered a question for Joe. Did you say sometime today an engineer will be coming out or an insurance company will be coming out?
We don't know. We're looking for the state fire marshal. We didn't want to answer either way to say, we can't speak for the owner as well as we can't speak for, the engineer and what's going to happen there. We just know we're waiting for the state fire marshal to give us our marching directions and hope and possibly what they'll give the direction to the owner of the home, of the building. Ma'am, you had a question back there?
Clarifying question. Thank you so much for answering our question. So aside from the woman who's intubated, are the 6 other victims still in the hospital?
Chief, we don't know.
At last, when I checked before we left this morning.
Chief, you come this way.
At last, before I left this morning, I checked. With the exception of the one that's in surgical intensive, all the rest of them were still in the ER. And I believe some will be discharged today because it wasn't that bad. Others probably a few days.
Okay, thank you so much.
Jared?
One point yesterday, maybe this is something for both Chief Finley and Chief Davis. At the height of everything yesterday, how many firefighters did you have there, including those that came in from Boardman, wherever?
It's hard to
And
say,
Chief, how
right.
many officers did you have?
How many-
Because we spoke to some anecdotally, they were there all night long.
Between that deal. Okay, as far as our fire department is concerned, the first arriving, when Sevens arrived on the scene, they seen the devastation, and immediately they called for a second alarm. In our department, a second alarm means every truck, everybody that's on duty is going. So that's 29 people, including both battalion chiefs. And then we call for help from Boardman. Boardman sent their fire chief, their assistant chief, and their ladder truck is what we needed. When you're dealing with those buildings downtown, all these tall buildings downtown, we need to get to those floors quickly. We need a ladder truck. So we had our ladder truck there, and Boardman brought theirs. So we had probably a little over 35, 36 firefighters on scene.
Yeah. And I was just asking Chief Davis about, we probably between YPD and Mahoney County Sheriffs, we believe about between 40 and 50. I know that I talked directly to the federal courthouse staff when they evacuated the building. The U.S. Marshals came out from there to help us for that. So it was all hands on deck, and it's like the chief mentioned, that's what mutual aid looks like.
my career, absolutely, without a doubt, absolutely. But my firefighters, I couldn't be more proud.
And Mayor, how did you hear about it? Did you feel any shaking, or did you get a call, or how did you hear about it?
I got a call. I got a call, and they said Chase Building. I wasn't sure. I didn't mean, they didn't say Chase Bank. So I immediately turned around for my staff calling me, and I came right back downtown, and I stayed until we all left last night. And I'm back there this morning, and I'll be there today, and until we have some sense of direction for this community. We won't just let it sit. I wish, and I'll say this for the media yesterday. I appreciate you guys yesterday. We were at a real critical point, and you just kind of waited patiently. Some of you did, and then some of you didn't. But even with those who traveled from different places, we try to give you all the information as quickly as possible. If we don't have anything, we don't want to just speculate. So we're going to continue today at the scene. What's going on, and can I ask you this, if you could do me this favor, just to try to keep your perimeter far away and let the workers do their work. Those gentlemen who are there, ladies who are there, they are not here to answer a lot. If there's a representative from the gas or utility companies, they will meet you, they will find you. So there's no sense in grabbing them and asking them or trying to get their attention. All they do want to come today and do their work, and they're not here for the PR. They're here to do the work. So just let us continue to give you the information when we have it. And when you hear the speculations on the street, until you hear it from one of us, or you may hear it before the street sometime hear it before I do. But I want to give you the facts. So I thank you guys so much for coming. Continue to keep the family in your prayers, the workers at Chase in your prayers, not even those that were just in the bank. I ran into a mother. Her daughter works with those individuals, and her daughter was very distraught. So keep them in your prayer. This is something that we all probably never planned for or thought would happen, going into the bank and having to deal with this. Listen, thank you guys so much, and we'll keep you up to date as much as we can. I'm sorry, but I didn't say that. Let me try to say it again. If I have more to give you, I will. I hope to, I hope to before. I don't want to leave the day not knowing unless to be continued with the state fire marshal. So I'm at their beck and call to let us know when I have something new. I won't have a problem with sharing with you. Maybe we mentioned we're going to change the name to the Gavel. We were kind of over by the federal courthouse area, but that road is kind of closed. Probably over by Jack's gift box. Where's the old smoke place? What's Jack's place in the Huntington building? Mahoney Snacks. That would probably be where, if you guys would kind of be hanging out in that area, if I wanted to convene you other than bring you back here, that would be kind of a quick response to you to there, if we want to just designate that area. And that's a good way for you guys to be away, okay? Thank you guys.